राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दनं व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यमुनातीर वनचारी यमुनातीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हे राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना हे यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jayam Vishnupat Paramahamsa Pradijagacharya Ashtothrishat Shri Srimad Shila Bhai Janaranda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Shri Thakur Haridas Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Rani Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Samsthapak Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Go Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishna Swadhamopagate Dhanamajnanadhibhisaha Kalaunashtadrishamesha Puranarko Dhunoditaham. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9, text number 11. And we'll chant this together, and then we can discuss the other two verses up until 13, but this is the main verse. Na eva Atmanah Prabhu Ayam Nijalabhapurna Manam Janat Avidushah Karuna Vrinite Yat Janaham Bhagavate Vidadhite Manam Tat Cha Atmane Pratimukhasya Yatha Mukhashri Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijalabhapurno Manam Janada Avidusha Karuno Vrinite Yad Jano Bhagavate Vidathita Manam Tatchatmane Pratimukhasya Yatha Mukhashrihi Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijalabhapurno Manam Janada Vidusha Karuno Vrinite Yad Jano Bhagavate Vidadhita Manam Tatchatmane Pratimukhasya Yatha Mukhashrihi Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijalabhapurno Manam Janada Vidusha Karuno Vrinite Yad Jano Bhagavate Vidadhita Manam Tatchatmane Pratimukhasya Yatha Mukhashrihi Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijalabhapurno Manam Janada Vidusha Karuno Vrinite Yad Jano Bhagavate Vidadhita Manam Tatchatmane Pratimukhasya Mukhashrihi Naivatmanah Prabhurayam Nijalabhapurno Manam Janada Vidusha Karuno Vrinite Yad Jano Bhagavate Vidadhita Manam Tatchatmane Pratimukhasya Yatha Mukhashri Mataji's, anyone? Naivatmanah Prabhurayam Nijalabhapurno Manam Janada Vidusha Karuno Vrinite Yad Jano Bhagavate Vidadhita Manam Tatchatmane Pratimukhasya Yatha Mukhashri Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijalabhapurno Manam Janada Vidusha Karuno Vrinite Yad Jano Bhagavate Vidadhita Manam Tatchatmane Pratimukhasya Yatha Mukhashri Na nor eva certainly Atmanaham for his personal benefit Prabhu, the Lord. Ayam, this, Nijalabha Purnaham, is always satisfied in himself. He does not need to be satisfied by the service of others. Manam, respect. Janat, from a person. Avidushaha, who does not know that the aim of life is to please the Supreme Lord. Karunaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is so kind to the foolish, ignorant person. Pranite, accepts, yet, whatever. Janaha, a person. Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vidatita, may offer. Manam, worship. Tat, that. Cha, indeed. Atmane, for his own benefit. Pratimukhasya, of the reflection of the face in the mirror. Yatha, just as. Mukhashrihi, the decoration of the face. Mukhashri, putting Lakshmi all over your face. Okay, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is always fully satisfied in himself. Therefore, when something is offered to him, the offering by the Lord's mercy is for the benefit of the devotee. For the Lord does not need service from anyone. To give an example, if one's face is decorated, the reflection of one's face in a mirror is also seen to be decorated. Kindly repeat. The Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always fully satisfied in himself. Therefore, when something is offered to him, the offering by the Lord's mercy is for the benefit of the devotee. For the Lord does not need service from anyone. To give an example, if one's face is decorated, the reflection of one's face in a mirror is also seen to be decorated. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder and Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In Bhakti Yoga, it is recommended that a devotee follow 9 principles. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. That's Srimad Bhagavatam, same canto, 5th chapter, text 23. This service of glorifying the Lord by hearing and chanting and so on is not, of course, meant for the benefit of the Lord. This devotional service is recommended for the benefit of the devotee. The Lord is always glorious, whether the devotee glorifies him or not. But if the devotee engages in glorifying the Lord, the devotee himself automatically becomes glorious. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam. That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Antilila, chapter 20, text 12. By glorifying the Lord constantly, the living entity becomes purified in the core of his heart. And thus he can understand that he does not belong to the material world, but is a spirit soul whose actual activity is to advance in Krishna consciousness, so that he may become free from the material clutches. Thus, the blazing fire of material existence is immediately extinguished. Bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. This is the same word that we get in nirvana. Nirvana means to snuff out a lamp. So the Buddhists, that's what they're trying to do to themselves, and that's why Prabhupada calls it spiritual suicide. So real nirvapanam, Krishna mentions nirvanam also in Bhagavad Gita, but it's Brahma nirvanam. Snuffing out material existence through identification with Brahma or spirituality. A foolish person is amazed that Krishna orders sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Quote, that's 1866, Bhagavad Gita. Abandon all varieties of religious activities and just surrender unto me, end quote. Some foolish scholars even say that this is too much to demand. But this demand is not for the benefit of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, it's for the benefit of human society. If human beings individually and collectively surrender everything to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in full Krishna consciousness, all of human society will benefit. One who does not dedicate everything to the Supreme Lord is described in this verse as avidusha. What does it mean, avidusha? Uneducated person. A fool. But Prabhupada here says, a rascal. Jai Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 7.15, the Lord himself speaks in the same way. Namam dushkritino murhaha prapadyante narathamaha mayayapa hritagyana asuram bhavam ashrataha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Because of ignorance and misfortune, the atheists and the naradhamas, the lowest of men, do not surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although the Supreme Lord Krishna is full in himself, he appears in different yugas to demand the surrender of the conditioned souls so that they will benefit by becoming free from the material clutches. In conclusion, the more we engage in Krishna consciousness and render service unto the Lord, the more we benefit. Krishna does not need service from any of us. Om Ajnanatimanantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangalam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Vansha kalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Sridhar Swami says that in this verse, Bhagavan ignores the mundane respect offered from fools. Even we ourselves, when we go to preach, people who appreciate what we've told them, they naturally want to offer respect, but it doesn't mean so much to us because we know they don't know anything. New people. If you get respect from a god brother, that's better. If you get respect from a senior god brother, that's even better. If you get respect from one of your guru's god brothers, that's even better. If you get respect from your guru, that means your life is perfect. So, somewhat similarly, Krishna doesn't, he appreciates, of course, but it doesn't mean so much. If someone who is out of sentiment, or we know that whatever respect they're offering, it's likely based on something flimsy. This is the idea that's expressed here in this verse, and Sridhar Swami points that out. First thing, what is the use of offering wealth and so on to the Lord. This is the Lord, the controller. He doesn't want the worship of he doesn't want his own worship from a fool for his own sake. He wants to take worship from a fool to benefit the fool. And we're all fools. That we need to know. So Jiva Goswami also comments here. Bhaktastu Shri Bhagavatopi Swata Eva Paramabhishta Rupaha Bhaktireva Cha Bhaktanam Sukharupeti Bhaktyat Tosha Ityevot Karashayan. I think that's in the next verse, maybe, what he's quoting here. But yeah, this verse is meant to show that by bhakti we are meant to satisfy the Supreme Lord, of course, but his satisfaction is the only thing actually that's going to satisfy ourselves as well. Ayam prapuratmano manam pujam janan nija bhaktan pranite nechati. He doesn't want to accept worship from his own devotee for his own sake. Tatra hetuhu. This is the reason. Nijasya bhaktasyaiva labhenaiva purna paramasantushtaha. He in himself is completely pure. He has nothing to gain from anything from anyone else. He's completely perfect and he's supremely satisfied. So, how is it that he accepts this so much worship from the whole world? How is it, as Prabhupada writes in his purport, that he demands surrender from everyone? Sounds like a tyrant, doesn't it? But hetvantaram karunaha pujartham tat prayasadao asahishno. He can't tolerate their suffering, so he's showing suffering. He's showing mercy upon them. And people are stupid. Janada vidushaha pittur agre balagavat tasyagre na kinchidapi janataha. It's like little children. Sometimes any parents here, they know your kids come home from school and they got this terrible drawing that looks like, it's unrecognizable actually until they tell you what it means. And then you're very pleased. This is a picture of you. We don't appreciate it as, there's no such thing as art appreciation. It's not going to go in any art museum. But the love is there. That's the thing. And that anyone can appreciate. So the Lord is only trying to show love to us by giving us, through his mercy, a chance for us to render service unto him. He doesn't need anything otherwise from us. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also comments here. He's presenting somebody who may assume that then what does he say here? Nanutarhi Shravana Kirtanar Hanadibhir Mat Sammananam Hi Bhaktis Tasyaiva Toshyami Natutapashrudadibhi. So that means that all this Shravanam and Kirtanam that we do, this is bhakti, this is what satisfies the Lord, not austerities, not tapasya. But actually even the bhakti he doesn't need. He's fully satisfied even without that bhakti. Was in the Upanishadic language, it's described Satya Kama, Satya Sankalpa. What does that mean? Satya Kama. Anything he desires, it's instantly a fact. Satya Kama. And Satya Sankalpa likewise means anything that he could set his mind on, it's already there. It's already a fact. He doesn't need anything. There's nothing you can give him that he doesn't already have also. And even the bhakti, in one sense we can say that because it's love, and Bharata Muni, great aesthetician, he confirms that in love, when it's purely considering love alone, then both parties are 50%, equal partners in that sense. From a rasa perspective, that is to say, the Lord maybe needs our love. That's very pleasing to us, isn't it? But from a tattva perspective, there's nothing he needs from us, nothing. There's nothing we can give him that he doesn't have already. So both are true. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is presenting the second argument here, and he says, no, that it's not actually like this. You, the Lord, do not accept respect from an ignorant person for your own benefit. Everyone, from Brahma to any clump of grass, they're all ignorant to one degree or another. No righteous person accepts respect from a person devoid of knowledge of Scripture. We mentioned this already. It is said that the quality of knowledge in a person is the cause of accepting his respect. And a certain quality fixed in you is a cause of accepting that person's respect. You're complete in your own attainments, but merciful. This is Bhanu Swami speaking, his translation. Anyway. So why do you accept the respect offered by others? You accept to show mercy. Your accepting of anyone's respect is your quality of mercy, which is fixed in you. That's the cause. You don't gain anything from any material person's respect. Rather, the person giving you respect gains. Whatever worship a person offers to the Lord is beneficial for that person, just as the beauty of the tilak on the face, it's called Shri in this verse, we mentioned already. Just as the tilak on the face is reflected in a beautiful image on a mirror. But if you just put tilak in the mirror and then you turn around, nobody's going to see that tilak on you. It's on the mirror only. That's the problem with modern civilization. Everybody's decorating the mirror only. So nobody actually has any good qualifications. The qualifications are all on the mirror. They don't last also. Beautifying a reflection does not produce a beautiful reflection. I would have translated it differently, but all right. So text number 12 we have now. Tasmadaham vigada viklava ishwarasya sarvatmano mahigranami yatha manisham nicho jayaguna visargamano pravishtaha puyeta yena hipomano varnitena. That means, therefore, although I was born in a demoniac family, I may without a doubt offer prayers to the Lord with full endeavor as far as my intelligence allows. Anyone who has been forced by ignorance to enter the material world may be purified of material life if he offers prayers to the Lord and hears the Lord's glories. Purport. It is clearly understood that a devotee does not need to be born in a very high family, or to be rich, to be aristocratic, or to be very beautiful. None of these qualifications will engage one in devotional service. So then why are we interested in these things? Because we're not interested in devotional service. That's the problem. We value money, is it not? Everybody wants money. There's no doubt about it. Everybody wants to make sure that they look as beautiful as possible. Everybody's hoping for some prestige, and that, very often comes from a high family, or we want to be aristocratic, or all these things. But these are non-devotional desires. None of these qualifications will engage one in devotional service. With devotion, one should feel, God is great. I'm very small. He's the one who has beauty. He's the one who has aristocracy. He has good birth in a first-class Vaishya family. This is Swayam Bhagavan. Actually, in Chaitanya Bhagavatam, there's a very interesting statement. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, because in my last birth I was a good Vaishya and protected the cows nicely, that's why I got to take birth this time as a Brahmana. Of course, we know this is Leela. But God is great, I'm very small. This should be our attitude, and therefore my duty is to offer prayers to the Lord. Only on this basis can one understand and render service to the Lord. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 1855, anybody know it? 1855? Yeah, you can't ask these things anymore. Everybody's connected. AI. Actually, Nityananda, we were talking yesterday, he said, no, you can defeat AI. It's not that difficult to do. You can defeat AI. And AI will apologize also. Because ultimately AI is just whoever programmed it, right? So still, the four defects are going to remain there. But, everybody has different degrees of these four defects. So AI may have, some qualification that you don't have, or they may not have the disqualification that you do have, but still, you're not dealing with some omniscient, sentient being. It's all right. So, what does he say in Bhagavad Gita? Bhaktya mam abhijanati avanyashchasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato jnatva vijate taranantanam. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj decided to offer his best prayers to the Lord without consideration of his material position. But he's conscious of that position. This is something that we can always take note, we mentioned already. Particularly in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. And Srila Prabhupada was particularly fond of the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. He very much appreciated, respected Prahlad Maharaj. So his attitude is one that we also see reflected in the character of our greatest acharyas, our Namacharya, Haridas Thakur, and Rup Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and others. They didn't go in the temple of Jagannath. He wasn't saying, look, I'm the Namacharya. Bhagavan himself is certified that I'm the Namacharya. You have to let me in. Because, Jagannath in another form has identified me as this great soul. Rup Sanatan, they were from high families, but Sanatana Goswami says, anybody know this one? Na prema shravanadir bhaktirapi va yogothava vaishnavo jnanam va shubhakarma va kyaraho sadjatirapyasti va. He claims in that verse that he's not even born of a high family, but he was born of a high family. GSB, Gaud Saraswat Brahmanas, from Karnataka. So, but these are the qualifications he's reminding us that don't really, they're okay in the material world, but they don't get you much in the spiritual world. So, anyway, Prahlad Maharaj is always very humble, meek and humble. He thinks that I'm just a demon, I'm not that important. And so we can learn from him, because we all need to learn this from him. All right, so what else have we got here? Since you're pleased by bhakti and not by good birth or wealth, and since respecting you is beneficial for me, I'll praise your glories, even though I'm low-born. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, excuse me, is paraphrasing Prahlad Maharaj's attitude. Even though I'm low-born, I will praise your glories. By describing your glories, a person who has entered the torment of samsara can purify himself and then liberate himself. We don't even know we're being tormented. We think we're being satisfied. But actually we're being tormented. What kind of things torment us? Pidanam, pida, pidayati, maya. What does it mean to be tormented? What's tormenting us in this world? Maybe some of us know. If you're in Shani Mahadasha, you certainly know you're being tormented. Or, if you're a teenager, it's usually it's a tough time to go through. But what other kinds of things are tormenting us? Why does he say this? Torment of samsara. Samsara vyadhi. Actually, it means the disease of samsara, the illness. Anyone here ever had typhoid? Raise your hand if you've had typhoid. Yeah, the Indians know. I got typhoid 2 years ago, and still it pains in my joints. That's why they call it break bone fever. It's like, it feels like someone has taken a sledgehammer to every single one of your bones and just crushed it into churna. That's what it feels like, if you can imagine that pain. And the muscles also, not just the bones, the muscles also. And it lasts for months. It took me a good 6 months just to get better from the acute symptoms. You do not want to get typhoid. Be careful of the water that you drink. Pretty much anywhere, but especially in India. All right, so samsara vyadhi, it's like that. We're tormented by disease, right? Birth, death, these things also torment the soul. Why do they cry when they take birth? Sometimes they cry when they die as well. Or at least they lament when they die. Nobody wants to have everything violently ripped out of your existence. Nobody appreciates that. Birth, death, old age. Old age is also no picnic. People get old and then, eventually you can't remember things anymore and you can't do things anymore and your senses are not so keen anymore and you can't enjoy them. And everybody neglects you because you're irrelevant now. And they take away your driver's license eventually. I had to do that for my poor mother because it was a danger. And what kind of people don't even consider the psychological impact of this process of old age. So this is a torment, samsara, and then you have to do the whole thing all over again every few years. And life doesn't last but a few years. When we're focused on the body and the here and now, it means everything to us because it's all we know. That's the bodily concept of life. Dallas. What is Dallas? We were driving to a program the other day and we were going beyond 635. And I remember I used to live here 30-something years ago maybe, and there was pretty much nothing beyond that, right? Arapahoe, that's the last thing I remember in those days. And now it goes halfway to Oklahoma, right? Aubrey, and we had a program there the other night. So, but what is it? Is this the real Dallas or was that the real Dallas? You tell me. Which one is real? It's like the Mormons. Mormons, they say the rapture is coming. Anyone ever heard of this? The rapture. It means everybody's going to be taken back to Godhead, their conception of back to Godhead, but in the self-same body. So, does it mean your baby's body or your old man body or, which? We're all passing through so many bodies at every moment, right? Dehi no asmin yatha dehe kaumanam yovanam jara ityadi. Nothing here is substantial, and everything here will vaporize in due course of time. It's a fact. It's all going to dissolve. 1980s Dallas, I can remember it very well. But where is it now? A few vestiges are left only. The people are gone. Half of them are dead. This is samsara vyadhi. It's a diseased condition where we're illusioned to think that we're happy, and actually we're being tormented at every step. Tortured by Maya, who has this 3 prongs. What's in the Trishula? Adibhautik klesha, adhyatmik klesha, adidaivic klesha. This is the samsara. Anupravishta, and we've entered into this. Jana puyeta tasman muchyeti artaha. So that we're purified only by offering praise to the Lord, by offering pure devotional service to the Lord. And by purifying ourselves, then we get liberated. That's why Krishna says, because where does liberation come from? Where does it come from, actually? What do you have to have in order to be liberated? What is the primary characteristic, or the primary, I should say, cause of liberation? And do not say mercy, because that's not the answer. Not humility. It's not any of these virtues. Detachment is part of it. They were getting warm. What else? Knowledge. Knowledge is the essence of liberation. Gyan. So, when we have absolute Gyan, perfect Gyan, then we are liberated. Gyan means awareness, as we said the other day, or knowledge, somebody said. So, but that knowledge is, it's not everything. We want more than that. That's why somebody said, what was it, humility, and what else was some of the answers? Anyway, this knowledge, it creates detachment. And not the combination of knowledge and detachment takes you to the liberated platform. At least the platform, the theoretical liberation, I mean, because there is no such thing as practical liberation until you come to bhakti. But theoretical liberation means, I know that I'm not this material body. Theoretically, I know this. But what is the difference between a practical realization and a theoretical realization? We were discussing yesterday. You can discuss theoretically what it means to die by electrocution. You don't need to discuss theoretically what it means to die by electrocution if you hold a wet knife in a socket. It's a completely different experience. This is the difference between just Brahma Gyan and actually practical devotional service. But the substrate of that pure devotional service has to be this Gyan, and that's why we need to be detached. That's why we need to cultivate knowledge. We need to come to the liberated platform, that is to say Brahma Gyan, theoretical liberation, in order to render devotional service. Otherwise, what happens? What gets in the way of devotional service? So many obstructive elements, like our anarthas. Kama, krodha, mada, moha, matsarya, ityadi. So, this is the thing. But really, after liberation, there's a positive life. Liberation is just via negativa. It's just a negation of the samsara vyadhi, the disease of material existence. But after that, there's something actually to do. And there are things to feel also. None of these has any play at all in the realm of theoretical liberation, which is why the Vaishnavas reject that. They feel it's hellish. Kaivalyam narakayate. This Kevala Advaita Gyan, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur says, it makes life hellish. Because it completely destroys, it just removes the very foundation of devotional service. It's a strange thing. It is the foundation of devotional service, but if you're attached to it only, Kevala Advaita, then it removes the very basis of devotional service. So one has to be progressive and recognize and appreciate that beyond mere liberation in Brahma Gyan, there is practical activity in devotional service. And this is what Prahlad Maharaj is getting at here, or what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is getting at here. By describing the Lord's glories, a person can liberate himself, means he will automatically develop knowledge and detachment. How does that happen? Not in a jnani, but in a devotee. There's a verse that I'm thinking of, and you should all know it, because it's very foundational verse. What? No. Think of these two key words, knowledge and detachment, and it's in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's all the hints I'm going to give you. Janayati ashu vairagyam jnanam cha yadahaitakam. Yes. This happens by devotional service. Matlab ki a devotee doesn't have to separately attempt to cultivate gyan, doesn't have to separately attempt to become liberated. I mean, those things have to be there. It's a fact. We've discussed already. But he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to strive for those things apart from performing his devotional service, because devotional service itself guarantees all of these things. Janayati ashu vairagyam jnanam cha. It very quickly guarantees all these things. So quickly, devotional service itself will liberate you. But you do have to become liberated. That we should know. Means that if you're engaged in devotional service but you're not yet on the liberated platform, you've got some work to do. You're being choked by your anartas. And that's usually because of this bodily conception of life. Not usually, always. So, this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. And Prahlad Maharaj is actually, he's paraphrasing Prahlad Maharaj, who says that, just by describing your glories, and even I can describe your glories, that's the thing. All of us can try to glorify the Lord, but we have to recognize it doesn't necessarily mean that much to the Lord. Just as a little child draws this crazy picture, and it's not a great artwork. So what is it that we can offer? Not very significant, but the love is very significant. And that love is what takes us back to Godhead. So we have to cultivate that. All right, let's go on. Text 13. Sarve yami vidhikaras tava satvadhamno brahmadayo vayam iveshana chodvijantaha kshemaya bhutaya utatma sukhaya chasya vikriditam bhagavato ruchiravatarayehi. What does it mean? He says, O my Lord, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma are sincere servants of your lordship, who are situated in a transcendental position. Therefore, they're not like us. Again, he's referring to his position as a demon. Even if we're not in the bodily concept of life, sometimes it can be helpful to have this, humility. Prahlad, and we heard the other day also that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, all these acharyas, I've mentioned their names already, they think that they're just fallen. They think or even the gopis in the 10th canto, what do they say about themselves? You know the verse I'm thinking of? They say, even though we are ordinary persons engaged in household affairs, still we aspire to engage in your devotional service. All right, so Prahlad Maharaj is taking this attitude. He says, O my Lord, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma are sincere servants of your lordship who are situated in a transcendental position. Therefore, they're not like us, Prahlad and his father, demon Hiranyakashipu, that is. Your appearance in this fearsome form is your pastime for your own pleasure. Such an incarnation is always meant for the protection and improvement of the universe. Okay, so here we have another conception which is only implied. Well, it's not even implied, actually. It can be culled from this description. I see it. And that is that different forms of the Lord have different functions. And Rupa Goswami has very elaborately described all the different forms of the Lord in which book? Which one of his books very elaborately describes all the multi-forms of Godhead? Anybody know? Yes, very good. Recently translated by the BBT. And he categorizes that three of these innumerable forms of the Lord, three of them are very prominent. Which are those? You don't say. Somebody else has to say. Yeah, good. Rama, Krishna, and Narasingha. They're called Paravastas. And Narasingha is, of course, one of them. Ramchandra is even more, in a sense, more popular also. But Narasingha Dev and even Ramchandra, they're engaged in paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatushkritam. So they're They're Yuga avatars or they're Leela avatars. They're coming in this way. And they're not really, their main purpose is not to display the loving relations that they have indeed with their devotees. At least not with the intensity and intimacy that Krishna does this. And that's why Krishna is considered to be the superlative of all the Paravastas. He is, after all, Swayam Bhagavan. And he's also called Prema Purushottam, or Purna Purushottam. He's the complete manifestation of Godhead. And Bilvamangala Thakur and many other acharyas, they say that although many avatars come and do these things, but there's only one of them who is displaying such love of Godhead as Krishna does. So that's Krishna. His whole purpose is to engage in loving pastimes and to display those loving pastimes so that we get a clue that what is all this dharma samstapana and asura vinashana, where's it all going? Why? There's a purpose to all of this, and that purpose is only love. Even in the Purva Mimamsa Sutras I saw one day. Purva Mimamsa Sutras, what's that about? Jaimini Rishi, what is his school of philosophy? Purva Mimamsa philosophy, or Karma Mimamsa philosophy, they call it. Karma Kanda, just karma. They never really leave the realm of karma, and they say that's all there is. But even he says, the only thing here is love. I don't know what inspired him to say that, but that's what he says in his Purva Mimamsa Sutras. Gopi Paranadana told me, because Jaimini Rishi later was narrating the Brihad Bhagavatam to them, right? Which is all about love only love. So he later became a devotee. Maybe he was undercover, I don't know, like Shankaracharya, preaching karma mimamsa philosophy, but, kind of let out a little hint here and there. I don't know, but even he says this. My point is this: karma goes nowhere. It's just an endless, like a rat on a treadmill, right? That's all. And you're going up and you're going down, and he's already described it, the samsara vyadhi. It's tormenting us life after life. Those who try to become intelligent and detached and gain liberation, theoretical liberation, that's okay. They get some relief, some peace for some time, as long as they can stay in that stasis. But nobody really ever does, pretty practically. And therefore, bhakti is the conclusion. You have to come to recognize that what we really want is what we really seek. And who's not seeking love? Even the so-called Mayavadis of this world, generally we see, they fall because they're seeking love and they can't get it elsewhere. Without devotional service, it's not available. And in the material world, it's like the decoration in the mirror. They're putting all their energy into decorating a reflection, and as soon as they step away from the mirror, it's all gone. This is death. And some people are so covered that they can't even recognize that there's a mirror at all. These are called the atheists. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has to come and present us with this Nam Sankirtana, or in his absence, in other Kali Yugas, Mahaprabhu doesn't come. So some other incarnation will come and preach the Sankirtana process. But that's Cheto Darpana Marjanam. It cleanses the mirror of the heart. Anyway, so this is all about love, and Krishna is the one who really gives us all this love. Now I said Krishna is Purna Purushottam for this reason, he's complete. But Prema Purushottam is that form of Krishna. We sometimes forget that he's Krishna, but this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prema Purushottam is that form of Krishna when he's completely overwhelmed with love. And he's just madly throwing it about freely. All you have to do is catch it. And by the divine grace of this Prema Purushottam, in the form of Srila Prabhupada, we've all got some little drops of this nectarian love. All of us. Everyone's life has been touched by this. How fortunate are we? It's inconceivable. We're not even liberated yet we've been given a clue as to what this Premapum Artho Mahan, the supreme goal of human life is. The supreme goal of human life is prema. We know, Aradhyo Bhagavan Varjeshatanayasta Dhamma Vrindavanam Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Premapumartho Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatradarona Paraha. The supremely worshipable personality of Godhead is Sri Krishna, the son of the king of Raja. And the method of the worship that was conceived of and executed by the gopis is the supreme form of love of Godhead. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana teaching this thing, or the spotless evidence that is teaching this thing. And these are the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for which we have the utmost respect. So, Prahlad Maharaj is only hinting at such things here, but that's what I see, at least, in this statement. He says that this incarnation of Narsingha is meant for the protection and improvement of the universe. And Narsingha Deva is also glorified by what name that's more focused on this bhakti principle? Bhakti Vighna Vinashaka. He is the one that we have to worship if we want to remove all of our anarthas. Remember all the obstructing things that are getting in the way of our bhakti? And, the things that are continuing our samsara vyadhi, Narsingha Dev can deal with that. Raise your hand if you've done Govardhan Parikrama, full Govardhan Parikrama. Please raise your hands. Hi. And everybody's like this, I can't see. Yeah. So when you get to the southern end of Govardhan, whose temple do you see there? Looks like a big brick box. Narsingha Dev. Indrajana Swami, I heard him give a class there one year. He came with a group of his people, and he said, it seems like that Narsingha Dev doesn't really have so much to do with this Braj Leela, right? Because, he's ripping apart demons and, garlanding himself with their entrails. And it's not really the same mood as Ras Leela, is it? But the fact of the matter is that this is what we have to have. We have to have our anarthas destroyed. All the vighnas have to be taken out in order to come to the liberated platform on which we can render devotional service without obstructions. So Narsingha Dev is very valuable to us. Now, Narsingha Dev, even in the pure realm of transcendental bhakti of the Ragatmikas, the eternally liberated associates of the Lord in Vrindavan, they're also finding Narsingha Dev worship to be very helpful. How is that? Because all the elders in Gokula, they were thinking there's too many problems here, and Krishna, we have to take care of him. That's our duty. He's our son. So they were advised. Who was it advised them? Maybe Durvasa Muni, I don't remember, or Narad Muni, that you worship Narsingha Dev for Krishna's protection. So that's what they do. It's kind of like, everybody worships Hanuman, right? Jai Hanuman Agyana Gunasagara, Jai Kapisati Loka Ujagara Ityadi. So one time we were in a rickshaw in Vrindavan. We were moving through, I think it was, what is that? The Anaj Mandi. And our rickshaw was from Bihar, so he should be a staunch devotee of Hanuman. But we passed a temple of Hanuman, orange Hanuman everywhere in India, you see them. So all he did was, this was in the old days, so he had this, the bicycle rickshaws, jing jing, you remember those? You push the little and jing jing, jing jing. So he rang his bell and he said, Radhe Radhe Hanuman. Just kept going. This is Brajavasa. This is Vrindavan life. Everybody's focused on Radharani only. Sarvam Khaluidam Radha, we can say. So, Yeah, I can't resist now because I brought up the topic of Hanuman. Dinabandhu. I learned only a year or two ago from Dinabandhu something new. We went to a place called Chamelivan. Anybody been to Chamelivan? Yeah, it's really obscure. Nobody knows about it. It's there since the last 500 years, but only Dinabandhu and people whose lives he has touched, they actually know about it. And I'll stop here because I know it's late. But he took us there. It's a very remote forest in the middle of Braj. Well, it's in the north end of Braj, kind of close to Koshikalan and that Mahavishnu, Sheshashai, these places. Dense forest, very remote forest. It's so remote that if you go there, you'll see many, many Nilgai. In Vrindavan, you know what a blue cow is? There's not actually cows, they're antelopes also, but usko Nilgai kehte hain. So this Nilgais are there, and a very, very quiet place because Nilgai don't like where people are congregating. They like to be in their own element. So when Krishna used to play, Mother Yashoda would get anxious all the time. In fact, she didn't like to let him go out very much. If she had her way, she would keep him at home all day long. But when they're little, the children always want to be more grown up than they really are. And so Krishna and Balaram, they were very eager to go and take care of the calves and the cows. So eventually they started cow herding after Gopashtami. And they were taking the cows out, and they had so much fun going to all these new places in Braj, big world and the lotus of Braj is expanding for them so that, they just kind of never come to the end of it. Every day is a new adventure. So they're going so many places. Yashoda's in anxiety out of her mind, just waiting, counting the hours before Krishna comes back. And she went to see Durvasa Muni, and she said, Maharaj, I'm having so many problems that I'm just always worried about my son. Please help me. What should I do? He said, no problem. You go worship Chintaharana Mahadeva. Anyone been to Gokula? Raise your hand. Chintaharana Mahadeva, you know this one? Now they've renovated the temple. It's very beautiful. Big Mahadev. And Chintaharana means he removes your chinta. What does chinta mean? In Hindi, not in Sanskrit. Hindi mein. Chinta ka matlab kya hai? Anxiety, right? Shoch. So this is Chintaharana, his Braj name. I saw on a wall in Vrindavan once, Chinta mat kara, chintana kijiye. Means don't be in anxiety, just meditate on Krishna. But it's a pun. All right, so but she found that even after worshipping Chintaharan Mahadev, who's supposed to remove her anxieties, she still was in anxiety. Why is that? Huh? Yeah, but why can't Mahadev remove that kind of anxiety? It's beyond his jurisdiction. This is the anxiety is coming from Yoga Maya. Lord Shiva can remove anxieties that come from Mahamaya, but he can't touch this stuff because it's Yoga Maya. So she went back and he said, anyway, you have to try because Durvasa Muni, I don't know if he knew this or not, but this is a higher level anxiety. So she's walking all over Braja every day looking for her son. And Bilva Mangala Thakur has described this. Kandu krida vigadadagana sweda mugdhanana shri. Kaishchit drishta kuvalaya dalashyamala kopi balaha. Prichati evam pati pati yayao vyakula nanda patni tire tire tapanatuhituhu krishnam anveshayanti. She's walking all up and down the banks of the Yamuna on every footpath all over Braja. Everyone she sees, it's like we say, right? Jare deke tare kaha Krishna upadesh. But she's not doing that. She's asking everyone, have you seen a very beautiful boy whose complexion is blackish like the beautiful blue lotus flowers? Kandu krida vigala daghana sweda mugdhana rishi. A beautiful bluish boy. And that bluish face, the complexion, is made even more beautiful by so many drops of sweat because he's playing ball with his friends. When children play ball, they perspire. And she's seeing that it's like so many little, tiny, tiny little diamonds on top of this blue lotus. You can imagine the beauty. Does anyone see him? The agitated, Vyakulananda Patni, he's describing. She's agitated still. And she's half crazed, going all over Braj. Every day she does this, looking for them. And she finally comes to this place called Chamelivan, very remote place. Because it's so remote, that's where Krishna goes sometimes during the daytime to meet with whom? Where they don't want to be caught. So Mother Yashoda comes into this forest looking for her child. And she sees there's all these gopis, hundreds of gopis there. And all the gopis are dressed up so nicely, beautiful, just like last night where they all come to the wedding with their, right? Just like, and she goes, what's going on here? And she sees in the middle of all these gopis, there he is. Is that my son? It cannot be. How is it? Krishna, is that you? Immediately when she's calling out like this, the whole crowd of hundreds of gopis scatters in every direction. And Krishna also takes off like a bullet further into the forest. And now she's agitated, even more so. She was already agitated, but now she's like, Krishna, is that you? What are you doing here? Who are all these people here? And Krishna runs through the forest. On the other side of the forest, there's a tank which is still there. They call it, what is the name of that place? Srimurti, remember? Maybe Hanuman Kund or something. Anyway, I forget now, but Krishna dives into this kund, he disappears under the water. Mother Yashoda comes out, she's looking, she can't see him anywhere. Then, meanwhile, when he's underwater, Krishna comes out of the water, but he's not in the form of Krishna anymore. Now when he's under the water, he morphs into Hanuman. Form of Hanuman. So Hanuman comes out of the water. Mother Yashoda is completely bewildered. Hanuman? She pays obeisances to Hanuman. Because after all, Hanuman's also a brahmachari, right? So what are you doing here? But whenever we lose something, who do we pray to? Hanuman, right? So she's saying, Namaskar Hanuman. And she's offering some puja and some praise, Jai Hanuman again, Gunasagar. So then she's asking Hanuman, have you seen my boy Krishna? I don't know where he is. And Hanuman answers, he's giving blessings to Mother Yashoda. So there's no worries at all, Ma. You go home, he's already there. I know this. You'll find him there. He's safe, he's happy, he's looking for your breast milk. Hurry. And Mother Yashoda goes away happily. But since that time, that place is revered. There's a Sitaram temple, and Hanuman there in that temple is not actually Hanuman. He's a deep fake Hanuman, because he's Krishna masquerading as Hanuman. And you look at his face when you go. You mark this, and when you go there, you look at his face and very carefully look at the expression on his face. He looks to be just as astonished as Yashoda must have been when she saw him. So this is Krishna's Leela. These things are far beyond dharma samstapana or, asura vinashana or, all these things that the yuga dharma stapana even, this is love only. This is pure love. And in love, all the rules are bent, broken even. That's why he's called Prema Purushottam. And Chaitanya, we have this only by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, nobody would know anything of any of these things. There would be no Vrindavan. He's the one who really, made it aprakarta. Before that, it was already lost. Vrindavan had actually, a whole Braja Mandala had become a very popular center of Buddhism. Way, way back in the old days. If you dig up old archaeological digs, they find only Buddhist things there. It was lost. But from the 16th century, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has uncovered all these things, and this tradition is there. Great acharyas like Rup Sanatan and others have come and given us all these wonderful leelas that we can absorb our minds in. So, this is all these prayers of Prahlad Maharaj in this chapter that we're hearing. It's all by way of, bringing us to this point where we can actually qualify ourselves. And the fastest way to qualify ourselves to undergo the process of anartha nivritti, to become liberated, to become pure devotees and appreciate pure devotional service in our own hearts, the quickest way to do that is to gain the mercy of this Prema Purushottama who has given it to us. How do we do that? We share it with others. His instruction, we mentioned already, Jare Dekhe Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh. I tell people all the time, because I know nobody's reading Prabhupada's books very much. You read something every day, and whatever you read, please share it with at least one other person that day. And then it will become solid in your heart, because that is mercy. It's not gyan. It's not just scholarship. It is mercy. It is devotional service you're rendering, because that is what Krishna wants. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will give his full blessings, and then you can actually enter into these things that we've discussed in the end. So I have to stop here. I'm sorry for going so far over time. It's almost 9 o'clock, and I'm sure you're all hungry. But it's been a very short but sweet visit. At least one person wants me to come back again. We'll see if that's possible before we return to India, but it's always nice to come to Dallas. Thank you so much for being here, for holding down the fort in this great bastion of Maya called Dallas, Texas, and for propagating Prabhupada's movement in the form of this Kalachandji's restaurant, and I hope you're doing book distribution also, and all the things that you do here. It's very much appreciated by everyone, and kindly you pray also for me that I can attain the supreme goal of life by your mercy. And we look forward to returning here every year. So I have to go today to Houston, and then Austin, and then many other places. But thank you very much for coming and listening patiently also. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Does anybody have any questions or any comments? I don't know if we have time even, but Dharma. Yeah. Yeah, just like we have in the South, right? Dr. Guru Vairappa. I go there every year. He's famous for curing people, right? So the real thing is what we find in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? Vaigurnya kita kalataha paishunya varnapidataha dainyarnavena magnoham chaitanyam vaidyam ashraye. That I'm suffering from boils because of my envy, and I'm being consumed by worms, as it were. So fallen person, rotten to the core. But I'm diving, and now I've been awakened to some degree by divine grace, and I'm diving into the ocean of humility, and I'm worshiping the Supreme Doctor, Lord Chaitanya. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We can pray like that. And even more so, Nityananda Maham Naumi Saravananda Karam Param Harinama Pradam Devam Avadhuta Shiromanim. The great jewel among all the Avadhutas who's distributing to us the holy name, that is Nityananda Paramananda. We should worship him. But we can't really worship Nitai either. We have to worship Srila Prabhupada because he's our founder Acharya. Everything is coming from him. And we worship him, I would say, mainly through hearing and distributing his books and following all the teachings, chanting Hare Krishna especially. And Srila Prabhupada we should understand through our own bona fide spiritual master. That should not be overlooked as well. And we pray for the mercy of all the Vaishnavas as well. Any other question? Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, no more questions that we should adjourn. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.